Hello everyone, and welcome to Ilford in Review with me, your host, Jimothy Baker. I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas and Father Gatemas brought you everything that your heart's desire. And also a big thank you to Pitbull for turning on the Christmas lights and staying over in Ilford for the entire Christmas period once again. He's a tribute to bold men everywhere. Now, personally, I've been putting together my Christmas present, a model of the classic Ilford fighter jet. As a child, I always wanted to be a pilot. Only the Ilford Navy had jets. Fast jets. They flew very high and very fast. I long to fly away from here. I trained and trained and trained, but Gapes himself told me, I will not allow a short-sighted anywhere near my beautiful angels of death. I guess he was right. And so I landed here, right in the beating heart of Ilford. Now in 2024 we all know the major news, but I'll recap it for those of you whom have overindulged in the Christmas milk. The magic Christmas milk. In January we caught the man with the concrete teeth who had been scaring the children. And in February, we caught the actual culprit, and so Sam Tarry was released with a written warning and a few broken bones from falling downstairs. And then again in March, Sam Tarry was arrested because, let's face it, there's no smoke without fire. He'll have done something. Gapes has assured us of it. Homosexuality was legalised for 6 hours in June for the annual Pride March. Then retroactively illegalised again so any subversives could be identified and tattooed in order to keep our children safe. In August there was the annual coronation of Mike Gapes as the Emperor, as the King, as the personal representative of God for all of Ilford. Pro Dio de Sherry to Ilford, all hail Gapes. In November we began the construction of the Richard Miller statue to sit at the right hand of the Mike Gapes statue for all eternity. Well, to be used as a footstool to be exact. It's the largest architectural undertaking in Ilford for over 10 years, with about 10,000 undocumented migrant workers expected to have died by the end of it. Play music here. If you can hear that, that's the Ilford Children's Choir they've begun to sing. In many ways, the electrical fire a couple of years ago was a blessing in disguise. It burned off the children's testicles, and now their voices remain high and pure for the rest of their lives. It's really a miracle when you think about it. I can hear them singing the song Gapes wrote for his deceased sister, the Princess of Milk. Gapes once told me that if he were to ever marry, the woman would need to look exactly like his sister, and agree with Gapes that his sister was ugly. Her name must also be the same. Marie Gapes.
We're here to ruin everyone's Christmas. We'll chat about the name on everyone's lips.
Ho, 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 ho.
That's right, it's Peter Mandelson.
The
Prince of Darkness.
Introduce the show. Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. Welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games. First things first, fuck Keir Starmer.
Fuck Keir Starmer.
We're joined this week by Israeli spy Eyup Lovely.
Sorry,
he has outlived his usefulness. He has been whacked by the security services.
Yeah.
It was only
Israeli
a matter of time.
Security services,
I'm in Tel Aviv right now.
The sleeper agents in the DWP have been activated and your time is running out.
So yeah, we wanted to do a little Christmas episode, and I mean, fucking hell, it's a shocker of an honours list, isn't it? They've made that corrupt MP Peter Mandelson a lord.
That was years back.
Yeah. That's what year is this? Well, they've sort of thrown in an ambassadorial announcement with the honours list. So, Peter Mandelson has been given, a big fucking gong another nice little trophy in a illustrious career. He's now going to be the ambassador to the United States. But also, in the honours list, there's all sorts of pieces of shit.
It's such a bad... I don't know if it's just more that I gradually paid more attention to politics and made more lifelong enemies the longer I had.
Is it
like
honours?
The first time or Labour... not honours, sorry. It's the...
Is it peerages? Because I had only seen peerages. I'd read
it's the peerages,
in the Financial Times that they have some of the honours that they're giving out. Good grief.
Yeah.
Those are not so nice.
We'll have to go through the full list, I think, because it's really bad.
The peerages are part of the honours, right?
No, they're separate things.
No.
Wait, so
they're putting all these people in House of Lords.
But does Starmer get to do that again, but under the auspices of the King doing it in the new year?
I think that is just strictly honours. Dames, Unite, CBEs. Iannucci will doubtless get something.
Has he not already got a CBE?
They just keep giving him them.
You can never have too many CBEs.
The more impotent his comedy gets, the more honours they heap on him. Isn't it funny how that works?
Yeah. All right, so Starmer is basically the king, isn't he? A mad, conceited monarch.
Yes.
He's basically,
But we also have a real one of those as well, so it's like lose-lose.
Yeah, who cares about him, though?
Yeah.
Fuck Starmer. Right? But, he...
We call for the immediate abdication of Sir Keir Starmer as king.
Yeah. This is the new Keir's honours list, Ben. And it's got, Mike Katz on it.
Yeah.
I had to laugh when I saw that. And for similar reasons, Luciana Berger and former Labour Friends of Israel chair Steve McCabe.
Yeah, he's probably the worst one of the three and all.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of
it's tough.
edging to kind of leaning towards both of them, to be honest.
Nobody's over this list, Jack.
Luciana Berger is one of the worst people ever to live, and Mike Katz is such
one of the worst people ever to live.
He
and
is
Steve
one of the
McCabe
worst
is
people
also
ever
one
to
of the worst people ever to live. So there's something
yeah,
for everyone here.
Fuck Mike Katz, fuck Israel Katz, and fuck the state of Israel, and fuck Keir Starmer for good measure.
Yeah. It's just an incredible list. So
they're divided up from the people who has been nominated by which party leader.
So it's broadly proportional. So the Lib Dems have got 2 nominations: Shafak Mohammed and Mark Pack. I've heard of the latter. I don't think you just assume they're regular Common Orgarden Lib Dem arseholes. Let's not dwell on them. So the Tories have nominated Nigel Biggar, the chair of the Free Speech Union. He's an academic who's very much tedious, anti-woke.
I only know about
him incredibly politely, and he's like, "You're oppressing my free speech."
Wait, so they've got him and Toby Young. They're just drawing all their fucking picks from the Free Speech Union.
Yeah,
Toby Young, who 4 years ago published an article that's what exactly do I have to do to get an honour? And the answer is just sit and wait for things to get slightly worse.
Yeah, I genuinely thought that he already had one. One of the last however many Conservative leaderships surely would have slipped him one somewhere.
They tried to appoint him to a minor government post, and there was a big outcry on that, so they didn't. But I think
there was at least 2 prime ministers he went to school with. Neither of them gave him fucking anything.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the woke days of Theresa May, that things have moved more in his direction now.
Yeah.
I think the real answer as to why now is that the Tories are at absolute rock bottom, so they're like, well, we don't really have to worry about this losing us votes, so let's just nominate all the cunts we've been wanting to put in for a decade.
And his dad was
be more popular again in a couple of years because of Starmer being Starmer. So we've already done it. Then we've ripped the plaster off, and
and his dad was in the House of Lords as a Labour peer. And if your dad's in the House of Lords and you're not, then you're kind of a failure, aren't you? We don't want Toby Young to feel bad about himself. So you kind of just got to give him a peerage.
I'm surprised they didn't put Rhys Mogg.
Because he lost his fucking seat, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's a GB News presenter now, so he's got to get that career out of the way, and then they'll put him in as soon as he stops acting.
He has a reality TV show as well.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah,
Who's fucked
They
up
don't want
family.
people paying attention to his politics while they're trying to get him over as, like, I was going to say Tory Ed Balls, but that's Ed Balls. Trying to get him over as just like a celebrity, you know, a sort of eccentric daytime TV guy, you know. But the rest of the
put him up
Tory
next to
nominations,
Jess
it's
Phillips again. They had
Tory
real
lawyer
chemistry.
and
A dynamic
there's, like,
duo.
God. Negative charisma. Yeah. So they've
She
nominated
can give him
Tory
some
lawyer
financial
and-
management tips, how to use your parliamentary expenses when you get back in, tips for dealing with inquiries.
Yeah.
And Theresa Coffey.
Therese Coffey and a couple of other less notable ex-politicians, but Therese Coffey is, like, hated, so again, that's just to sort of put her in while we've got nothing to lose. But then the Labour list is obviously really long, because they're in power, they've got the most seats by far, and they're not going to have the most seats by far for long, so they're going to get everywhere, as many people in as they can, as quickly as they can. Mr. Abolish the Lords himself. So we got former Scottish Labour leader Wendy Alexander.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What is Scotland? Who the
English
fuck is
attitude,
Scotland?
But, like, I kind of envy your ignorance. God, she now works at the University of Dundee. I'm so fucking glad that I'm, like, well out of there by the time they got her in.
When was she Scottish Labour leader?
A long time. It was the era when New Labour was still in power and doing okay, but they were slipping on every banana skin up here. So she was in office. She was leader of the party for less than a year, September 2007 to June 2008.
Yeah, they've had so many
Gray,
fucking leaders.
Succeeded by Ian Gray, who was best known for, like, hiding in the subway because people wanted to talk to him.
Like, who the fuck? Like, they've had so many fucking leaders. It's like the Lib Dems for a time after Nick Clegg, where they were just
there was
constantly
a deliberate strategy for just, like, the national press just not report on Scottish politics at all. So, like, no one outside of Scotland knows who these people are. Most people in Scotland vaguely remember the name, and then you look them up and it's like, oh, that prick, I hated them. But they've had so little impact outside of their brief period as one of Scottish Labour's top people that you genuinely, like, forget they exist. It's a very Labour big dog resignation. She took a dodgy donation from a property magnate, or a campaign team did. Just to give you an idea of how cheaply... We know how cheaply Labour can be bought, right? We've seen that time and time again. This is how cheaply Scottish Labour can be bought. £950. £950. Like, certain current Labour MPs, let's not name names. You know, it was funny that you talked about Jess Phillips a few minutes ago, but I don't know why I'm pointing that out now. Would take that, like, every day, you know, just to get out of bed. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they're a bit more proactive about it now. They launder it through a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Right, who else we got? Let's not dwell on
let's
Wendy
not dwell on
fucking
fucking
Alexander.
Wendy Alexander. That's Brendan Barber, former General Secretary of the TUC, right? Luciana Berger, we've covered
Satan.
today and extensively in the past.
The great
Jesus.
Satan.
I saw Jackie Walker post today that Luciana Berger used to date Blair's son.
Yeah,
Oh, you didn't know that?
Well known. Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah.
I genuinely did not know that. And
When they were at uni, I think.
Good
Or
grief.
maybe immediately after. But
good grief. When is that mental health review coming out? I'd love to see that.
Sadly, she resigned, so they had to abolish the post entirely. Like, it's just the way it's Corbyn's fault as ever, even though he introduced the post in the first place.
Like the
Starmer had a
fucking
big
waspy
set
thing.
piece where he commissioned Luciana Berger to do her fit. She finally got to finish the Berger cut of the mental health review. Because they were all talking about how it was such a disgrace that they let such blooming talent like Luciana Berger resign from the Corbyn cabinet.
She did fuck all when she had the post. It's, in my lifetime, every leader of Labour and the Tories has been like, we're going to take mental health seriously and we're going to improve mental health provision, like, unrecognisably. And they've all done fuck... Like, I mean, look at the three of us. Our existence is proof of, like, successive government failures to tackle mental health.
Thanks a bunch, guys. Thanks, Luciana.
Yeah, it's her fault specifically,
Hero.
and all her predecessors as well.
There was this weird thing a lot of people tried to do when Change UK split, where they were tried to be both like, haha, Mike Gapes, what a bunch of jokers, and then also like, but Luciana Berger obviously is deadly serious. She's got her deadly serious reasons.
Serious face halfway through the interview.
Yeah. That didn't really work. You kind of had to just say they're all cunts and fuck them.
Mary Boosted, former Joint General Secretary of the National Education Union. Kevin Brennan, former Cardiff MP and former Business Minister. Lynn Brown, again, this is just the
proper
generic
fucking
sort of
no-mark MP.
Jobs for the long-serving MPs that got voted out and all retired. Dinah Kane, the former chair of Goldsmiths University, chair of Camden Steam, presume it's some sort of gaming thing, not going to Google it, and CEO of chair of Creative Skill Set. I don't know, they sound like a monster, just on the basis that they sound like a business person.
Yeah, sounds evil.
Another TUC person, Kay Carberry. Margaret Curran, fucking hell.
The Margaret Curran from Liverpool.
No, the Margaret Curran from Glasgow. A fucking monster of Scottish Labour. Just a terrible, terrible politician and person. Again, not to dwell on it, but she's like...
Was she leader as well? Was she Scottish Labour leader?
She was not leader. She's been like a sort of...
She was in Miliband's cabinet.
They just all take it in turns, every Scottish Labour politician.
They have that fake... They have that fake brief, don't they? Scottish secretary.
yeah. Total DOS job.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on the Welsh one. Like, it's not even a real job at all.
Feet are up if you're the fucking Welsh secretary.
The thing with Margaret Curran is she's had like no major controversies beyond the usual like.
He tactically ignores the anti-Welsh slander.
Yeah, I'm just blanking it now. Good
La,
job,
la,
make
la.
this stretching the episode really boring, so you're forced to edit it out. But the point I was making there is, despite having no major controversies, everyone in Scotland and everyone in Glasgow in particular just like massively dislikes Margaret Curran. There's just an aura of like Scottish Labourness that just makes you an arsehole.
Yeah, because you spoke about her like she was like a serial child murderer, like the monster Margaret Curran.
The thing, that was probably the most positive write-up of anyone's ever given her by me just now. Like apart from like Labour cheerleaders.
No major controversies. Put that on the fucking tombstone.
That immediately puts her like top 20% of Scottish Labour and Labour elected people. Full stop. Anyway, next one to the real big hitters. Thangam Debonair, who previously spoken in favour with great enthusiasm about Keir Starmer's plans to like abolish the Lords.
Yeah, of course. But again, they all fucking do this. Like every one of them. I know that Jeremy Corbyn will never take a seat in the Lords. I can't really say that for like any other MP who has ever advocated abolition of the Lords.
I thought they gave Thangam Debonair one of those political frenemy podcasts. I thought that she replaced.
Oh, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that.
I thought she replaced Jess Phillips.
That's not a job. Being in the Lords is not a job. You go there for about an hour, you sign in, you get your 300 quid, you go home, and then...
Although, to be fair, how long has it been since the election? 6 months. She still has
5 months,
that grey government tick on Twitter. She's still been officially a representative of the government.
She's basically defrauding the nation, and worse than that, she's defrauding poor Elon Musk.
Well, and now it's all fucking... It's in the rearview mirror now. She's back in... I guess government in many ways.
Yeah, well, maybe that was the plan. Just style it out, and eventually it'll become relevant again. But
she kind of started losing her mind after the election. The things she was posting.
Oh, she was losing her mind during the election. Like she was. She knew there was a good chance of her losing her seat, and she was like, "How dare you!"
She was like yelling at voters, like literally just like voters who she was canvassing. She was like, "Do you realise I'm going to lose my seat because of you?"
There's an incredible tweet that was doing the rounds yesterday from late June, so shortly before the general election, from a Labour activist in the area, Matt Redmore, vice chair of Yimby Labour.
Oh, fuck off!
Worse than that in his bio.
Worse than Satan.
Yorkshireman.
Stop that now. Stop that right now.
Look, so this was his tweet on June 24th. The Greens have lies in their leaflets and are telling their activists to lie on the doorstep. And then the attached image says, the script. A Green campaign organiser gave GNDR activists a briefing before they headed out. Suggestions included arguing that Debonair would have to toe the Starmer line as a cabinet minister and to be deployed to voters who have a personal affection for her. If she doesn't get elected, they're going to put her in the Lords anyway. Debonair, told about the claim by Playbook during an interview beside a City Farm vegetable patch, was enraged. It's an extraordinary thing to say. That is quite
Support
something.
the farmers. Repping the farmers.
There have been no discussions about a peerage with Starmer's office. No, never, of course not. So that man's been ratioed into the sun with DDP pictures left, right and centre, quite rightly.
Can I say, on that note, is Margaret Hodge in the House of Lords? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he put her in straight away because she.
No.
Straight away for that. She is a baroness. So she is in the House of
yeah.
Lords.
Yeah.
And they give it to Harriet Harman, I think.
But
I think
did they
they did
actually
this-
put in that law?
She's been given a couple of new jobs recently.
But did they put
because
in the law where they have to resign at age 80?
85 or something, yeah. I don't know if that's in the law yet.
No, it's supposed to be
I think
80, I think.
But they were
She
hammering
is 80,
Starmer
so-
over it. It was at the time when he met Biden, and he said Biden is the smartest and most acute man I've ever met in my life.
Most virile.
They were saying, well, he would have to resign under that rule.
So she was
yeah.
nominated in the dissolution honours. So when they called an election and dissolved the government,
Right.
both
That is
Sunak
just
and Starmer get to make. So it became official in August. But
Certainly
a
made me
clean,
feel fucking
clean deal.
disillusioned, that's for sure.
yeah. But she's been getting like new jobs left, right, and centre. They've been appointing her to all sorts of like task forces and inquiries in the last few weeks. And you're like, she did not give a shit when she was like 20, 25 years younger and an active MP. She was just like, oh, the BNP a surgeon in my. Oh well, I'll just sleep in. It's fine.
Yeah, the thing about that whoever it was who you mentioned who was from Yorkshire reminded me of I found that right Welsh twat called Geraint earlier. It's just saying centrist bullshit about how Peter Mandelson's cool.
I've dealt with this before. Every so often, there's not that many Geraints, but they're nearly all Welsh. But some of them are going to be centrists or just have shit politics or stupid ideas. You know, if we started looking for any fucking idiot called Jack, we'd be here all day. That's just from your aliases.
Oh, come on. That was below the belt. That was below the belt.
That's crazy. Nah, there's all Jacks are beautiful.
Jack Whitehall.
Yeah,
Oh,
he has an
fuck's
off day.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got his finger on the pulse. You can't deny that. He sells out.
That's true. That's true. Exactly. He's a very popular guy. John F. Kennedy, left-wing anti-imperialist.
Yep. Jack the Ripper.
Jack the
Successful at his craft.
Successful at his craft, indeed. Yeah.
I make no moral judgment.
No, exactly. We're not here to do that kind of crude moralizing stuff. Like,
How about Margaret Hodge? Her maiden name is Oppenheimer.
Is it?
Yeah. Now it's the worst Oppenheimer for humanity. I haven't fleshed it out yet.
Yeah.
But something along those lines.
Something along those lines. No, I think you've got the right ingredients for something there.
It's funny how the actual famous Oppenheimer, like, probably expressed more concern and regret over, like, nuclear expansion than
Much
Margaret
better
Hodge.
politics.
Oh,
Much
yeah.
better politics than Hodge. Although she was, like, hard left when she was young, wasn't she?
Was she?
Like,
They all
before she
say
was
that.
an MP. No, but I think she actually was, but it was like when she was a councillor, she was known for being a hard left firebrand, and then like that. Yeah,
but
that
might mean that just like some of the local Tories bitched about her a lot to the press.
I think she was just one of many New Labour sellouts. Many people who moved far to the right of where they were when they were younger. Anyway, who cares?
How about J. Robert Oppenheimer? He stole less children's futures than Margaret Hodge.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
He made the Earth a more habitable place. When he, due to his scientific actions, all those homes of innocent civilians were blown up. that wasn't as bad as the housing policy Margaret Hodge stole from the BNP. Again, this is like early days. This is just kind of spitballing. This is what they call a comedy jam, that Pryor and Mel Brooks used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
A lot of cocaine.
Delighted to welcome Death, the Destroyer of Worlds, who gave up their time generously to speak to members of our Future Candidates programme.
Yeah. So
going
who have
on
we
with
got?
the list anyway.
Who have we fucking got? Yeah.
Julie Elliott, former Sunderland MP.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah, who fucking cares? David Evans, right?
Oh,
we
yeah.
know who he is. Like,
Corrupt
dodgy
twat.
car salesman wanker.
Yeah.
There was some stuff recently about him writing poetry in the honour of despots around the world and stuff. Dude, I'm not going to derail it by randomly googling that because the full poem wasn't in there. Otherwise, we'd already be on it. But what a sad old cunt. Anyway,
Fucking cunt.
Again, it's just David Evans obviously went to bat for Starmer every single time, took the flak for all what little stuff he did get criticism for in those years, and this is his reward for services rendered.
Yeah, he was just he wasn't there for the long haul. He was just an old Blairite hatchet man brought back for one last job.
Speaking of not here for the long haul, his next nomination was Sue Gray. Briefly Chief of Staff and Second Permanent Secretary of Cabinet Office, who just months ago was the disastrous idiot that was to blame for everything going wrong with Starmer's leadership. Now, strangely, since they got rid of her 4 months ago, everything still continued to go wrong at an incredible pace. So it suggests that perhaps either she wasn't the problem, or Starmer himself is the problem, or McSweeney's the problem, or all three are true, and getting rid of one of them doesn't really change much.
Well, it was warring factions, wasn't it, between Sue Gray and Morgan McSweeney. I think, obviously, Sue Gray, for the folks at home, is an agent of MI6. They say as much on the BBC, basically. Morgan McSweeney is this little techie moron, but he has access to all the nice, certain
money.
persuasion, Israeli donors, Trevor Chin, these types of people. So evidently they have more sway than some asset that they used during the Troubles, like Sue Gray.
An MI6 Joker.
She gets
Sue Gray was
£300 a day for the rest of her life now, so there's no need to return to the struggling publican trade.
Well, Sue Gray, the commiseration prize was that she was going to be given a role as some kind of global envoy to nations, but she said...
She turned it down. She's like, no, I'm too important for that.
Yeah, but she left them hanging for a good while. She was saying... I need to fucking just sit on my ass for a bit. I need to kick my feet up. I need to have a holiday. And then
she got a few months off, and now they put her in the Lords.
Good enough. Good enough. Quiet forever. Yep. It'd be interesting to see if she ever wrote a book. Not because I think it would be particularly explosive. I would just like to see her try and concoct a version of events for a lot of things.
Yeah, because Starmer couldn't. He couldn't write a memoir. There's just too many redacted
he handed the money back.
His...
He handed the money back when they
which he never does. He always likes to keep money and gifts and shit like that.
He loves money.
Yeah.
The list goes on, right? So Theresa Griffin, a former MEP, boring. Angie Hunter, senior advisor at Edelman, former head of government relations in Downing Street. This is very much a Blair era name, and I know her mainly because she was the person that Tony Blair wrote a really creepy bit in his memoir about, cracking on her when they were 16 years old. They went to a party in northwest Scotland and he tried to climb inside her sleeping bag without success. And still then, decades after the fact, is what I'm just writing about how sexy she was. What an odd man Blair is. Anyway, again, long-term services rendered for the Labour Party there. Next, Carwyn Jones, the former First Minister of Wales.
Grotesque face, even for a Welsh person.
Fuck off. I was with you for the first half of that, but no, again, there's some people I just always remember for one thing, despite a long political career. And in this case, it's The Guardian in 2016. They published an article, I believe it was Jonathan Jones, the really inept art critic. And the article was titled, showed a picture of him rubbing his eyes with a red face in the Welsh Parliament. And they called the article, Carwyn Jones was crying for Labour's slow, horrible death. If you go to that now, it reads, removed, Kerwin-Jones was crying for Labour's slow, horrible death. This article was taken down on 13th of May 2016, the same day it was published, because it was based on the mistaken premise that Kerwin-Jones broke down in tears during a meeting of the Welsh Assembly. The image published with the article, taken from a video of proceedings in the Assembly, showed Jones holding a handkerchief up to his eyes. However, in the video itself, it was clear he was not crying, and we have since been informed he was rubbing his eyes because of a medical condition.
Yeah, it was those pussy eyes. Oh, sorry, pussy eyes. This is the first time. This is the first time in maybe 10 years I've gone on the Guardian website and not been confronted with, like, please pay us loads of money. Like, our journalism is so important. We're brilliant. Give us a tenner. So at least
he got that taken down the same day.
Like, yeah.
He got that taken down the same day. He must have some lawyers. That is an insane retraction. There's a lot of detail. But
if you look around, there's still a Daily Mail article about it on that same false premise that's up right now. The exact same screen cap.
When was the Guardian article? Was it 2016, you said?
Yeah, 2016.
When in 2016?
13th of May.
13th of May.
Okay, so this would have been when the Guardian were drafting even their fucking art critics to write boilerplate anti-Corbyn opinion pieces.
This was when he was writing basically weekly centrist opinions as well as his regular column. It was the same sort of era where he did the two articles like a fortnight apart, and one of them was like, we mustn't ever celebrate Stalinist era art ever.
Vile Russian art!
And then the other one was like, you can't judge art by the circumstances it comes from. And it was about like a Nazi art exhibition.
Yeah, it's like Hitler drew some nice dogs or whatever. But
when have you ever seen The Guardian just wipe an article? I'm reading
Bin Laden.
an article about that now. Well, Bin Laden.
I can't remember the others
quite
off
different.
the top of my head. But
it's something this trivial.
They fucked Jonathan
trivial.
Jones like they fucked Bin Laden.
Bin Laden, she wanted to fuck me harder than the US government fucked Bin Laden.
To quote
Yeah, they
Lonely Island.
removed fucking Bin Laden. That was Seamus Milne's heritage, that was.
Mr. Seamus Milne.
Resist the New Rome, the greatest thing they ever published.
Yeah.
Not an
I'm reading an article.
In it.
I read an article about them removing the article, and it says, running under the headline, Kerwin-Jones was crying for Labour's slow, horrible death. The opinion piece was first published on 12th of May by Jonathan Jones and described the politician's so-called tears as refreshingly honest and a foreboding sight too. The Guardian was criticised for running the column by readers on Facebook, with one follower stating, "Remember when comment was free, but facts were sacred?"
Facts, man. That is facts right there.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I like to think that's what drove them over the edge. They reflected. Facts are sacred here at The Guardian.
Concrete facts, even.
I'm saying concrete facts.
And so I like that. Like, let's just take Jonathan Jones at his word and just assume that Kerwin-Jones was crying in the Welsh Assembly over Corbyn's leadership. That is fucking hilarious. That would be so funny if literally Corbyn's awesome power to rattle the biggest cunts in the world, like, literally drove the leader of the Welsh Labour Party to tears on the Assembly floor. I would, I think Corbyn's really cool anyway, but I would think he was so cool if he managed to do that with his mind powers.
Well, he's not crying because of it; he's crying for it. It says he's summoning it in many ways. He's pleading.
I think we should blame him for the hardships that the waspy women now have to endure. Jones and Corbyn, the deadly duo.
So, going on with the list, there's some boring ones in it, but there's still a few notables, shall we say. We got Mike Katz, favourite person in the world.
Fuck, that's all I can say to that. It's just, he's such a revolting little shit, just like an obsequious fucking skin-crawling creature of the establishment.
He's only been in the public eye really a few years, but he's on that Chris Bryant trajectory where he looks more and more like a Frank Miller character by the year.
And it's just fucking...
he is hideous.
It is just fucking so grim to think that if Labour had done better in 2017, like, yes, we might have got Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister, but we might also have got Mike Katz as an MP, because he was a parliamentary fucking candidate in that election.
Someone called Gerard Limos, social policy expert and chair of English Heritage.
He's got a name like a dodgy
Savings
shell
and
company.
Investments, and chair of London Institute of Banking and Finance. I'm sure he's completely legit and on the up and up here.
I launder my money with Limos.
Chair of English Heritage.
Have you got any thoughts on English Heritage?
Jail him.
I was going to say, it sounds like a very racist job. But I looked him up and I don't think he's white. So maybe, maybe I need to rethink some of the
but it's not.
in my mind.
It's not about the individual. Is it?
Again,
it's about the job. The
the white Englishman who is.
The job turns you.
There.
Yeah.
The job could turn him into an instrument of white supremacist oppression.
Yeah.
It's institutional, like with the police.
Like David
and that.
Lammy.
Like David Lammy, exactly like David Lammy, if we're being honest.
No.
Which we always are on this show, concrete facts.
We're saying concrete facts.
Honestly, 100% honest. Anyway, the next one is... sorry, there's no fucking... Shut up. No, I can't do sex. I can't think on my feet.
Come on,
I've been
come
doing
on.
this podcast for 6 years. I've never fucking learned to do it.
This is basically like the second
It's not gonna
episode in a
happen.
row you've hosted. Like, I'm just like sitting back here, rolling up a few joints for myself afterwards, and just letting you do the heavy lifting. It's good. It's good. I'm enjoying it. Let's keep going down the list. I'll crack the whip occasionally if needs be.
Fucking... yeah. You're the poor sod that's got to produce it, though, so...
It's fine. Like I say, we're going to do a hard and fast end at some point.
It's catching. Now, you're getting worse at the sex just from, listening to me more. It's great.
Yeah. It's spreading.
My long-term plan to destroy the podcast is finally bearing fruit.
I identified the wrong Israeli spy at the top of the episode. Shit.
If that's what ends up getting us done for libel, fucking hell.
Put in the Van Morrison song Double Identity
Or
here.
worse.
Or if that's even a song. It probably isn't it. I don't know. I assume he's just got some mad song about, being spied on by Israel or whatever. That's just my song. So that's the last song I wrote. Anyway, so who is the next recipient
on the list?
of Keir Starmer's honours?
Next on the list is a KC. The name didn't initially ring a bell for me, but it did for other people, including our guest tonight, Alison Levitt.
Oh right, this is some deep shit. So I just wanted to say on Mike Katz as well. I reckon that this honour,
gotta go back and clear steaming on Katz.
I just forgot. Yeah, sorry, I fucking hate Mike Katz so much. But I reckon that this honour is in part a reward for the fact that he didn't publicly lose his shit when Labour limited 8% of arms sales to Israel. He went and privately met with Lammy about it. And presumably got some concessions, like the policy wouldn't go any further for the time being. So I think that... Because Mike Katz always publicly supports Starmer on everything he does. And this time he didn't publicly support him. But he didn't criticise him either. So I think this honour comes in. Starmer, still the greatest friend of the Jewish community. Because Mike Katz and Luciana Berger and Steve McCabe, who's not even Jewish, but whatever, he loves Israel more than you do, you piece of shit. Yair Rice, fucking Steve McCabe's more Jewish than you'll ever be. I invited Yair tonight, by the way. He said, no, sorry, I don't concern myself with Christmas. It's a vile pagan ritual. No, actually, he didn't get back to me in time. Whatever.
I think history will vindicate him on that decision.
Yeah. So Mike Katz, he's been a good boy and he gets his treats. Keir sees when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. All right.
So Alison Levitt, right? Twitter user Dr. Unpleasant, who I've been mutual with for ages, has sort of outlined the timeline of this quite concisely and quite
this
well.
is deep shit. My third eye grew like 20-fold when I saw this.
Yeah. So Levitt worked
And
for
my
Starmer
penis
in
got
the...
considerably hot. Carry on.
Speaking of Starmer's work colleagues, right? Anyway, no. So Alison Levitt worked for Starmer in the Crown Prosecution Service, so like 15 years ago going on. Starmer appointed her to lead the independent inquiry into the Savile failings, independent in big inverted commas, because she worked for him. And
A classic British inquiry.
Yeah.
Inquiry done the good old British way.
So the Crown Prosecution Service investigated the Crown Prosecution Services and said, well, there was nothing else we could do, what a shame.
Nothing to see
No
here.
blame here.
Starmer
No blame
innocent.
No blame here, and specifically no blame for Starmer. We really need to make that clear for unspecified reasons.
Yeah. He's innocent. Also give him a pension rise. Massive pension rise immediately. Enshrine it in the fucking law.
Levitt then gets a top job at mishcon, in brackets, huge fines for money laundering failings. Yeah, very suspect firm in some ways. So she was working for them. She then hired Starmer in 2014. And
should I beep you saying suspect there, by the way? I'm just thinking about what you can say about a fucking lawyer, a legal firm.
They got huge fines for money laundering failings, so I think that would suggest that the way they dealt with money laundering was highly suspect.
And Starmer worked there. Starmer worked there while he was an MP. They contracted to the Labour Party.
They offered him a second job in 2017 because he was working part-time for them in dispute resolution, and they tried to give him a second job in 2017. That's when Corbyn stepped in and said, no, you can't have second jobs if you're in the shadow cabinet.
Which was reported at the time as Starmer very magnanimously just turning down the job because he was such a committed public servant.
Yeah, a complete lie. He obviously bears a grudge to this day, that much is clear. And then here we are a few years on, she gets a peerage. Exactly which of those prior items the peerage is for, who's to say? But they've done each other a lot of favours in their careers.
Weren't mishcon weren't they also involved in the legal advice that Labour should not contest that massive sum of money they gave to the so-called whistleblowers in court?
Yes, they were JLM's legal team.
Of course they fucking were.
Yeah.
And the fucking better in Europe.
They were working in some capacity with the defendants who'd appeared on Panorama, the whistleblowers, alleged whistleblowers.
They're not whistleblowers.
They were represented by our friend Mark Lewis of Patron Law. Mark Lewis Lawyer, I should say, that's his name, because it says so in his Twitter handle. So
Mark Lewis gender.
They did a bunch of legal challenges over Brexit as well. A lot
of course they
like that.
Fucking
no
did.
doubt puppeteered by like Mandelson or some fucking cunt like that.
This issue that mishcon were involved in on one of the other sides is that Labour's legal team specifically advised Starmer not to settle, that it was a case that they would win, and he settled at great expense.
Because the fix was
against all legal advice, because that's something that people with legal training should do, apparently. Nothing dodgy about that whatsoever. But she's in the Lords now and gets £300 every day for the rest of her life.
Yeah, she was Starmer's number 2 at the CPS, basically. I imagine her job role was limited to burning a lot of documents. And
that's always a growth career in this country. If you're good at if you can operate a shredder with like peak efficiency, you'll be on the six figures.
Chris Leslie, it was a photocopy of him, but maybe he did a bit of shredding for Gordon Brown.
He works for the debt industry now, so I bet he's fucking great at shredding documents.
It would have just been like transcripts of Gordon Brown's violent rages, though. I don't think he was that financially corrupt.
With Alison Levitt and Sue Gray, there is a recurring sort of theme of Starmer is literally just giving it to people that he wants to keep quiet.
Yeah.
I think. He wants people. He's obviously promised these things to them along this long road to power, and now he's paying off. I imagine they will, in future successive honours lists and peerage lists, I imagine as it gets on in his term, they'll get more and more ludicrous as he starts, I've got to check this off at some point. You know, Sir David Miliband, etc.
Yeah,
These types
arise,
of
Lord
things.
Silvio Berlusconi. Arise from the fucking crypt.
I mean, if you could pull that off, it would probably actually put his approval rating up 1% or 2 just for the spectacle of it all. Like,
Starmer discovers key to eternal life. Weirdly chooses to use Berlusconi for first example.
He did represent Berlusconi.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they ever met. I would love to know.
I think they met. I think they were good friends.
Yeah, they have some similar characteristics.
Yeah. Close personal friends.
Yeah.
I hope they did meet. Like, Berlusconi was a guy who was, like, famously a bit much for, like, Tony Blair. Who's,
I hope they touched tips.
Getting the globe and talking to dictators, so...
I'd imagine they got on like a house on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So there's someone called Anne Longfield who seems to be like a charity sector person for children's charities and stuff, and was a former children's commissioner for England.
Probably evil.
Yes, highly suspect.
Highly suspect.
Chance that she's evil,
I mean,
or
some
knows
of
where
these
the bodies are
fucking...
buried. Quite literally, if maybe some of her predecessors in the role.
If there's even a tangential link between the Labour Party and a children's home or a children's charity...
There's not a great record in those sort of overlapping areas, is there?
No.
Didn't it come out that our man from Ilford, Jazz Atwell, like owned a children's home where people were like disappearing?
Children's slave plantations. It's absolutely absurd. And the Labour Party, if you ever hear a sentence that contains the words Labour Party and children's home, you are in for a terrible, terrible time.
Speaking of fucking Hodge, right?
Speaking of Margaret Hodge, who should genuinely be in prison.
Yeah, she's just such a piece of shit. But no, it's kind of like with Mandelson, isn't it? Like, no journalist is ever going to bring up the children's homes or whatever. Same way, you have just kind of like John Sopel writing this article, like, oh, Mandelson's a big beast. Never mind the fucking connotations of that phrase. But
I mean, the BBC ran an article still calling him the Prince of Darkness. And I appreciate...
Which has different connotations now, yeah.
Yeah, that is insufferable during Blair, but now this man is accused of being a paedophile.
Yeah, it's pretty dark stuff, but like, sorry, it wasn't a big beast that Sopel said, it was a class act. He's a fucking class act, Mandelson.
Did you see what Adam Bolton said? The Sky News fucking ogre.
What did that big fat cunt say?
He said...
That's a good shout, actually. Is he related to you?
Let me fucking find this. It's absolutely repulsive.
I was going to mention, but I remembered you read it on your last appearance on the show, Eyup, the one time that a journalist asked Starmer about Mandelson's Epstein connections. Because that's what I was kind of getting at. It's just seen as, like, I guess, serious journalists have just collectively decided, like, oh, it's impolite to bring up the Epstein stuff. Like, it would be mean. It's like it would be bullying him or something. So they're just like
what the...
not even...
Peter Mandelson is always on fucking TV. He's always on TV.
Robert Peston wrote this article earlier, which you can barely call it an article. It was like 2 fucking paragraphs on the ITV website, itv.com/Peston or whatever. But wherever he puts his fucking doggerel, his gibberings. But like, fucking... But yeah, it was basically a couple of paragraphs, and the headline was like, did Starmer not anticipate the controversy around Mandelson's appointment? And it was like, oh, right, so he's going to talk about the reasons Mandelson's controversial. And you look at the article and he's just like, yeah, people really liked the previous ambassador. People in the Team Trump really got on with the previous ambassador, and now Starmer's sacked her. And that's how people like Peston fucking perceive politics in the world. It's like the only objection to something like the appointment of Peter Mandelson to a major role like this that matters is the one that's coming from the corridors of power, where it's just like,
social fit, basically.
I really liked fucking Julie or whatever the fuck the previous one was called. Oh, she's nice.
That is literally exactly how Adam Bolton, the Sky News, I don't know if he's still at Sky News, moron.
Yeah.
He wrote an article saying the headline is, Peter Mandelson is the only politician not to lie to me. He'll thrive in the United States. And the byline is, he is a man of principle and will relish the role. And then someone on Twitter sent him a screenshot of the JP Morgan report where it says that Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Mandelson stayed in contact after his conviction, and that they had little pet names for one another and whatever else. And Adam Bolton says, One problem with this smear: young women are not Peter Mandelson's thing. But first of all, like,
Epstein wouldn't have anything going for the gay brothers. Like, one of the world's leading sex traffickers wouldn't consider that there are some gay people allowed in the upper echelons of power.
I mean, all sex trafficking is bad, but Jeffrey Epstein, his name does not live in infamy because he trafficked young women.
Yeah.
Trafficked children.
Yeah, I see.
And I think it speaks volumes about what Adam Poulton, a man doubtless in his 60s, maybe 70s, what he would consider a young woman.
Like Jeffrey Epstein wasn't trying to like get in with all these celebrities and politicians and stuff because he was trying to create an Avengers of child sex trafficking. He was trying to like, get leverage over them.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
if he'd walked around his New York townhouse and been like, "Oh, lots of cameras here. This guy must really have a fetish for people being filmed." You missed the point completely.
Epstein has been accused by at least one male victim. So it's besides the point anyway, but I think a lot of this argument that sways away the fact that Peter Mandelson has been there so many times, indeed when Donald Trump was there, indeed when Virginia Giuffre was there, who was trafficked to Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
They can swat it away saying, well, Peter Mandelson's gay. And I just think it's a very puerile perspective because it seems that through their thinking, Jeffrey Epstein would traffic young girls, children, but he drew the line at gay paedophiles.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like you're evil
that,
enough to be one of the world's foremost international
Yeah.
sex traffickers, but you're like, gay shit, that's gross. So
Yeah.
even if you
Yeah.
didn't personally like it, you would want to profit from it if you were that person.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
we
Jeffrey
know
Epstein,
full well that Jeffrey Epstein was friends with Kevin Spacey. Spacey's admitted.
Yeah, indeed.
This year
Spacey there many
going on
times.
flights with him.
Yeah, in as much as he had politics, he was pretty much a liberal, so I don't think
Yeah, of course.
Epstein was like particularly homophobic. But again, this is precise.
Again, this is a very, very senior political commentator in the UK, Adam Bolton, and he's either plain stupid or he genuinely appears to think that Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking children to people just out of pure recreation.
I think
maybe.
a lot of British
Like-
journalists both play stupid and are stupid, so there's like these two layers of stupidness
It's hard to
that
tell which one's active at the current time.
Absolutely.
compound each other.
And
Yeah,
I think
But-
Bolton is one of those, like, he's one of the few people in that sort of role or that sort of prestige that will sometimes, like, beef with other journalists. But also he does say some incredibly stupid stuff. And there were points, certainly when he was, like, Sky News' main guy, he'd almost get in fights with people on the air, like, just yelling at them for being too left-wing and stuff. Like, when I say people being too left-wing, I mean Alistair Campbell. He yelled at Alistair Campbell.
Oh yeah, they didn't get on at all.
They almost got in a fight on, like, live TV.
Oh yeah, speaking of like, you know, it's just rude. It's just mean to ask Peter Mandelson why he was such good friends with Epstein. Do you know Bill Clinton was a fucking guest on The Rest Is Politics the other day? It's like,
I saw.
You know, there's no fucking red lines. It's like if you're one of the good guys,
But
you're one
again,
of the good guys.
that Peter Mandelson dinner with David Blaine and Donald Trump and Sergey Brin and Les Wexner, arranged by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein in, I think it's 2003. They profiled it in the New Yorker. He didn't turn up, but that was organised for Bill Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's just this incestuous nexus of... I mean, you saw it when the Archbishop of Canterbury stood down and, like, Alistair Campbell, Rory Stewart, they're on Twitter saying, oh, he's a gorgeous man. He's a saint, really. You know, and this man covered up child sexual abuse for decades, and that is their exact thinking. You get it completely undiluted. They're nice to me, so they're good people.
Yeah. It's like, how could Bill Clinton be a paedophile? He agreed to come on our podcast.
Yeah.
Like, how nice can you be? Fucking agreeing to come on. Like, you came on our podcast. You're nice. Yeah. Not saying you're a paedophile. I don't mean to compare you to Bill Clinton.
I don't appreciate the comparison.
Yeah, so it wasn't an intentional one. I just meant to say
Thank
that
you.
you're nice. It's a nice thing to agree to come
Thank
on
you.
someone's
I think
podcast.
Bill Clinton should be in prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he should be. He's a bit of a piece of shit, that guy, isn't he? Fucking Bill Clinton, man. Like, my source for this is an episode of Real Politik from several years ago that I uploaded to YouTube the other day. However, in that episode, I say that there is somebody called Alistair Campbell in Epstein's little black book, although the name is spelled wrong, so it may be someone different. Make of that
I think that's
what you
possibly
will.
the case. If Peter Mandelson's name has about fucking 50 numbers in there, I'll tell you that. I called a bunch of them. I couldn't get through to any Mandelson numbers.
This man loves a phone number. I'm going through the book now, which is always a good thing to do every few years. Danny Baker's in it. What the fuck? Maybe it's a different Danny Baker.
Yeah,
But,
potentially. I think Campbell's a more likely fucking suspect.
Flavio Briatore's got about 10 phone numbers in there. That sounds about right.
I use the
But
word
also
suspect
Alistair
there
Campbell.
ambiguously. Sorry,
Alistair Campbell, the lead singer of UB40, is called Ali Campbell.
Could be him. And perhaps it was Alistair spelt with an I. That
Yeah,
could have
and
been
he's a
it.
white boy.
But
Gets
I've
it,
got
you
it up
know?
now. Actually, Alistair and Campbell are both spelt wrong because it's Cambell in it.
Oh,
So-
that's a type. Epstein was kind of a moron in a lot of ways, wasn't he? He wasn't meant to be like a very literate man. Good at some things, international sex trafficking, not so well until until he got caught. Fucking idiot.
He has a lot of. I appreciate he will have had friends in the government. I believe the Black Book is taken from the early 2000s.
So
He just has like he has numbers for like Foreign Office, Home Office. Just calling up fucking David Blunkett. You right, Blunkett? Suppose
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he was a liberal.
Blunkett's
Why
the
would
type
he
of
not
guy
be
you want
trafficking
around.
boys as well? like all good liberals.
Blunkett's got no stories to tell.
No.
He's not checking IDs.
Yeah, he didn't see anything.
Jonathan Dimbleby in here. Interesting.
Yeah, Dimbleby. Isn't Jonathan Dimbleby good friends with Jacob Rees-Mogg? I wonder if Mogg ever met Epstein. They seem like
Yeah, he wouldn't be in
different types of big money.
Yeah, I don't think that Mogg was as notable a figure at the sort of point that Epstein was most prominent. Well, I guess they had a bit of crossover.
Moggy's dad is quite a senior figure.
That's true.
Mogg.
He was
Have you ever seen that
tiny,
documentary
wasn't
of?
he?
Yeah. Have you ever seen that documentary, that French documentary of Jacob Rees-Mogg when he's like
Yeah.
7?
No,
That is absolutely absurd.
It's
absolutely horrifying.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
fucked that
Jacob
there's a
Rees-Mogg.
reality series about them.
Jacob Rees-Mogg needs to be humanely euthanized, I think. It's disgusting. His whole life, the fact that he's just constantly shitting out kids, it's repulsive.
Right, that's a bit.
Well, I
No,
just
it's-
think
I
that
think-
Jacob
isn't
Rees-Mogg,
that he has lots of
every
kids,
single
the
year,
problem is that he's
every
a bad
single
person.
year, I have to think about Jacob Rees-Mogg. Let's be honest, ejaculating inside his
You
wife.
don't have to think about that at all.
Well, it's in the subtext.
About that until
It's in the
right now.
subtext.
I'm not
You constantly-
enjoying it right now. So
And
I
they
get
make
kind of where
jokes
you're
about it
coming
at Tory conference. They make jokes about it. They say, "Oh, Jacob's fucking he's knocked up another one," and they're roaring for it. And you don't think that's in the subtext?
Yeah, interesting. Very
for that.
interesting. The plot thickens.
from.
Okay.
Chris Evans in there. That figures.
Chris, oh shit, we're just going through the Black Book now, aren't we? Are there any more honours?
Yeah, there's a few more. They're mostly boring. The one I think that's notable is Marvin Rees.
Oh yeah. And well, it's weird that a couple
Bristol
of
Mayor.
it's weird that a couple of Bristol's biggest failures have been given gongs in this fucking round of awards, isn't it?
These are both
honours,
people
isn't it?
that, they came into their jobs. He was the mayor of Bristol. She was obviously the MP. Both newly elected, reasonably comfortably, I think. And both framed as like, oh, great, young, go-getting politicians sort of thing. They can connect with a wide audience. So both, a few years later, just absolutely despised with like a long, long list of reasons. And in both cases, just an attitude of absolute contempt towards the public. I think with Thangham, she sort of kept most of it offline, but like you speak to any Bristol left-wingers and they'll have like a long list of specific grudges with her. Marvin
Didn't they
Rees
get
was
rid
just,
of-
like, publicly be ranting and raving about the hated people?
Didn't they scrap the role after him because he fucked it so badly?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. They were certainly planning it, yeah.
Have we got anything else? Was there more things? Was there more stuff? More honours? More about Mandelson? Anything?
I don't think so. I'm literally going through the fucking Black Book as I say this. Henry Kissinger's in it. That's put me right off him.
Is there anyone called Geraint in there?
Sorry, no, of course there's no one called Geraint in there.
What
Loads
you saying?
of Jacks in there.
You saying there's no Welsh people in the Little Black Book? Are you going to go on record?
I didn't say that at all. Like, not all Welsh people are called Geraint.
I think a good percentage of them are. I'm pretty sure it's like Stefan's middle name. I just made that up. Don't go to him like, oh, Jack told me it's. I thought we've got so much in common.
He was beefing with the same Geraint that you were.
Yeah, he was. He was like, he said that the guy isn't allowed to be Welsh or gay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eyup, did you have something to say a minute ago?
And I say he's not allowed to be a Geraint, so he's like fucked all around. He's ruined his life in one day. He's lost his name, his nationality, and his sexuality.
I can't remember what I was saying before, but my crowning little cap is just that Alison Levitt, as we spoke about earlier, is married to, I think, a Liberal Democrat lord who is Welsh, maybe? Maybe he's from Wales.
The plot thickens.
He's a friend of...
this is something of a smoking gun, if you will. I brought back my my election era catchphrase right in time for the end of the year.
Baron Carlisle. Again, Alison Levitt was in charge of the review into the CPS handling of the Savile thing. And her husband is this fucking dinosaur who was friends with Cyril Smith, his Liberal colleague, and Greville Janner, two, of the monsters of British history.
Checking this, hang on.
That is 100% true.
I'm saying concrete facts.
Is this that Baron Carlisle guy?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You get fucking fact-checked coming on here. Is that what happened?
No, I trust it.
He didn't say he's Welsh, but he was. He was born in Wrexham.
Yeah, fuck you. And I even said fake Wales.
I knew Eyup would never come to us with anything less than 100% concrete facts.
I'm saying concrete facts.
Exactly. I can't believe how many people
He's a lifelong supporter of
fact-checked
Burnley
on
FC.
here.
You can't get more English than that.
Don't understand football. Sorry.
Burnley are the team that when the Black Lives Matter protests were going on, and then shortly afterwards the footballers were like taking a knee at the start of games, a Burnley fan like flew a banner over the stadium saying like White Lives Matter Burnley FC.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. But like one of my friends who doesn't even have many Twitter followers or anything joked about it like a week before it happened. He was like, Burnley are going to be like, all lives matter. And then it literally happened, like the first round of games after that.
Jesus. There's something else about Alison Levitt.
That's who Alistair Campbell supports as well, isn't it?
Is it Burnley? I think that is quite possible, yeah.
Let me fact check that.
He's always posting about it. He was posting about it earlier.
Shit people support. I get an incoherent of rage and like trying to Google Alistair shit instead of Alistair Campbell.
I'm a Hammer myself.
Burnley.
Hammers all the time.
Yeah, he's a lifelong Burnley supporter. Yeah. Alistair White Lives Matter Campbell.
Yeah. Campbell Claret.
That's what they call him.
Like, Jack, you've seen the utter woke nonsense meme, right?
Yeah. Clara told me about
like
it before the Dylan game.
That guy was like Burnley manager for years.
Yeah.
The guy in that meme.
Okay.
I don't know if he is right-wing, but he just has a sort of Brexit aura about him.
That's why he's called Campbell Claret, or Claret Campbell. I can't remember which way it's rolled. Because Burnley Claret.
Clarets, yeah.
Oh. I thought it was just because of his alcoholism.
Do you remember his racist? Do you remember Alistair Campbell's racist son? Like
no, I've met his daughter. I was on a panel with his daughter. I don't know if they.
I forgot that you're like fucking in with the family.
Yeah, that is disgusting.
Me, her, and Paris
with
Lee.
war criminals. Fucking. No, he had like a racist son who was hawking some racist book. Callum Campbell, and he's also got Claret in his Twitter handle. But he's like the platonic ideal of a Burnley fan. If you didn't know he was related to Alistair Campbell, you'd be like, right, it's literally just your typical Burnley fan.
So is there anything more to the Starmer Mishcon Derea connection? That's the interesting area here, I think. That's
Mishcon Derea, it's evil fucking Labour Party intelligence fucking law firm.
Yeah,
it's got its mitts in everything.
Yeah, Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas,
fucking humbug.
everyone.
Ho, ho,
Oh, well,
ho.
I've just gone on Mishcon Wikipedia, and you get straight away a major contributor to this article appears to have a close connection with its subject.
Oh, dear.
That's the good reputation management shit. Please discuss further on the talk page. Right, straight to the talk page. Oh, there's no actual talk on it. Fucking hell.
It's been wiped,
Yeah,
but they
they're
don't want
nuking
you
it,
to
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
The paper trail
Fixes
has
it.
been shredded.
But so they're suggesting it's like a biased Wikipedia, like in their favour. But there's like it's a medium length article, and there's paragraphs under the heading "corruption and money laundering," and then
I tell you
beneath that under notable clients, it's like, oh no, they were on the other side in the David Irving case. Fair enough. Okay, skimming that. They did not represent David Irving.
They might just be doing it
I
on
tell you
free
what's
speech grounds, like the
suspicious.
ADL, my favourite organisation, the Anti-Defamation League. Sorry, Eyup.
The Alison Levitt Wikipedia page, it's literally like 2 sentences. I don't think it has
I had a look
any
at-
sub-columns.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there.
One that we didn't mention on the list is Deborah Mattinson. And
Oh.
she's one of those people that was
Yeah.
like briefly the flavour of the month. This genius pollster is the key to Starmer's future election success and so on. They put her in the Lords. Her Wikipedia article, which was created yesterday, she didn't have a Wikipedia article until the 20th, reads as follows. Deborah Mattinson is a British author and political advisor. She was nominated for a life peerage in December 2024 by Prime Minister Keir Starmer for the Labour Party. One source, and it's a link to the political peerage's official government list. That's it. That's the article. She was not notable until this happened.
Shit, man.
I mean, she's just a think tank person, foreign policy kind of
a
whore.
data nerd that's on side with that wing of that party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone will have someone like them. That real monster in the Lib Dems that I'm not going to name because he got our account banned once for just linking a news article about him without adding any commentary. He was like a data nerd. He called his fucking autobiography, like his name, Winning Here. But
Well, if you're
he's also,
calling
like, a
him a
massive
monster,
danger to
he's
women,
probably
so-
got no major controversies in his life.
Oh, man. I'd say it's a fun Google, but I'm
Tim
sticking to the bit
Farron.
of not naming him, so...
Cyril
It's
Smith.
got to be Tim Farron.
Tim Farron.
not Tim
Most of the
Farron.
Lib Dems I know.
Tim Farron does not believe in either extramarital sex or marital sex.
Yeah, so true. So true. Or extra frog sex. He extra believes in them not
All
doing
roads
it.
lead to Farron.
Yeah, so true. Should we wrap up, guys? We
Yes,
are
I
getting
think
to
we're
the
all-
hour 20-minute point.
Ooh,
And
Alistair McAlpin in the Black Book. I didn't notice that before.
Look, if you want, Geraint, you can do a solo episode where you just read all the names of the little black book. I would listen to that, to be fair.
That would probably go wild on YouTube if you just did that with like the video being like the appropriate page.
I mean, presumably it's been done.
Yeah,
You know, it's some fucking American sweaty.
yeah, but it'll
bastard.
be some American on like a 3-hour video with like a clickbait face on and then like you get to like 2 hours and they've named 2 people or something. And
Yeah,
then-
versus just you just scrolling through. Oh, David Dimbleby. That name's a bit like Alistair Campbell's.
It was a
good
lot like
content
him,
when I do
okay?
it, right? It's-
Fucking happy Christmas, guys. And if this, I am pretty tired from editing our mammoth Ben Judah episodes. So if this episode comes out after Christmas, then hope you had a good Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. And yeah, it's been a wild fucking year. You know, Starmer became Prime Minister. That kind of fucking sucked. But whatever. It's been good to hang out with arguably the Time magazine person of the year. Eyup Lovely himself.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a nice time, or I hope you had a nice time. Look after yourselves.
Thank you, man.